CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. An earthquake has rattled southern Vancouver Island. People from Souk to Saanich, Langford to downtown Victoria could feel the ground shaking at about 3:20 this afternoon. A magnitude 3.3 earthquake. That measurement comes from the U.S. Geological Survey, which says it was centered 10 kilometers west-northwest of Langford. Callers to the CTV newsroom say the ground shook for several seconds. Many of them reported the dishes rattling. Some say pictures were askew on the wall. Items on tabletops were moving back and forth. But so far, no damage or injuries have been reported. Seismologist Alison Bird from the Pacific Geoscience Center joins us now live on CTV News at 5 with more on the quake. Alison, thank you for being here. Tell us what we know about the quake. That measurement of 3.3 came from the U.S. Geological Survey. Yeah. They upped it this afternoon. What do your drums tell you?
Well, we're saying 3.0, so it's in the same ballpark.
How significant a quake is that?
It's really not significant at all. It's a very minor event, but simply because it was fairly shallow and close to populated centers, quite a few people felt this one.
Do you know what the depth was on it?
It was 26 kilometers. So that places it still within the North American plate, toward the lower end of the North American plate, but that's the one on which we live. There
are a lot of quakes every day that we don't notice. How frequent are they, and how many are they?
Well, in the last year, my colleagues and I at the Pacific Geoscience Center located nearly 4,000 in Western Canada, so it's a very active region.
There's been a flurry of earthquakes in Southern California, several again today. Is this related to that, and should people be concerned that this is the precursor to the big one?
The California quakes and the earthquake we just had are not related. They're just in the same sort of on the same continental area. This is not necessarily a precursor. In fact, it's extraordinarily unlikely that it would be. Foreshocks are fairly rare, and if you're going to have a foreshock, you tend to have the large earthquake quite soon after and in the same region, and we don't expect that to happen.
But it is, as always, a good reminder that we're in a quake zone and we should be prepared.
Absolutely.
All right, Alison Bird, thanks for taking time to join us this afternoon.
You're welcome.
CTV's Astrid Braunschmidt's been monitoring your feedback on the quake this afternoon on Facebook and Twitter. She joins us live now with more on where people could feel it and how sharply they did feel it. Astrid.
You know, it was interesting to watch Facebook and Twitter light up, literally. So again, taking a look at the area, based on the latitude and longitude, the quake was actually in an area just south of Goldstream Lake, so maybe you felt it. People around Uptown said that they felt this earthquake. Trans-Canada Highway just south of Duncan, even as far north as Nanaimo. So here's a look at some of these responses on Twitter. Kristen or Sarah saying they felt it good at Uptown, thought it was a serious construction issue. And then there you go, south of Duncan along the Trans-Canada Highway. Camosun College, if you were there, you likely felt it. We heard that from our friends at the Alumni Association, and saying that it felt like a huge truck falling on the roof. Of course, a lot of people remembering that they have to drop, cover, and hold on. So some people in their offices, Hudson, remembering the training they've gone through and putting that into practice today.
All right, that's a good thing. Astrid, thank you.
You're welcome.
Of course, no injuries or damage have been reported. Well, the province has named a facilitator who's going to try to help implement the policing plan for Victoria and Esquimalt. Lee Doney's been selected to work with both parties to try to develop their new policing framework. He'll create a balanced budget and an effective service model and will handle any predictable conflict. The province overruled Esquimalt's choice of the RCMP and ordered the township to contract Vic PD for its policing service. Doney has some experience in this area. He served as a deputy minister for the province for more than 17 years. Well, Vic PD says its officers have caught more than 100 impaired drivers this summer, and they say it's a number that is still way too high. Police say since the May long weekend, 115 impaired drivers have been taken off the roads in Victoria and Esquimalt alone. That's more than one every day this summer. And with the last long weekend coming up, Labor Day, police fear the drivers still aren't listening and they'll still be putting other people's lives at risk.
The fact that the message has been out for many, many years. We've seen the effects of people who have been drinking and driving and the effects that it leaves and the damage that it causes. And our officers have to go up and clean it up. Like, we have to go. We see how it changes lives. And that message just hasn't sunk through to the point that we were hoping that it would have up to this point.
If you spot an impaired driver, police would like to hear about it. They say you should pull over and immediately report it, calling 911. Vic PD says there's a dangerous fugitive that could be hiding out in the capital region, and they want to make you aware. He's 22-year-old Desmond White, who failed to return to his halfway house in Surrey last week. He was serving time for crimes committed on the South Island, and police have reason to believe he may be back here. White is 6 feet tall, about 180 pounds, blue eyes, and he has distinctive tattoos, including the word side on his left hand and west on his right. If you spot him, police say do not approach him, but call police or 911. A car exploded in Nanaimo today, lighting its owner on fire and gutting the duplex he lived in. The man was changing a fuel filter with the help of a friend when the light they were using burst, and that ignited gasoline in a nearby bucket. The homeowner was beneath the car and caught fire. His friend pushed him to the ground, rolled on top of him, and extinguished the flames.
It was instant, man. That means it was instant. This gas, believe me, man. This be a lesson to anybody around gas. It's just like right now.
Dennis was under the car at the time?
Yeah, and he caught fire. He came out of there on fire, literally. This may look good, but that just came from putting it out.
The fire didn't stop there, though. The flames spread quickly from the driveway into the duplex. Firefighters say when they got there, the front of the home was fully engulfed.
Pretty much, as you can see, just pretty much the front half of the house obviously went up from the garage and went in through the upstairs.
Everyone out okay?
Everyone got out okay.
The homeowner was sent to the hospital suffering minor burns only. He was fortunate. His wife was inside. She was able to escape. The Nanaimo Fire Rescue is continuing to investigate. Conservation officers are warning livestock owners in the Saanich Peninsula once again tonight to keep their animals safely inside overnight. They believe that a mother cougar is on the prowl and is teaching her young how to hunt and doing it very effectively. They struck again last night, killing 2 sheep and a goat at a farm on Prospect Lake Road. There's another goat missing. Conservation officers brought in the hounds, but the cougar's trail had already gone cold.
We're about 5 hours behind it, and the ground here is really dry, it's really rocky, and it's not holding much scent, so the hounds weren't really able to pick up anything. If we were able to capture one of these cougars, we would have to assess the situation, but generally speaking, cougars that have killed livestock are not considered to be suitable candidates for relocation, in which case it would have to be put down.
The Conservation Service says the series of livestock attacks on the Saanich Peninsula is like nothing they have ever seen before. Well, the Nanaimo Ladysmith Schools Foundation desperately needs your help tonight to send students back to class with their backpacks and their lockers loaded up. The foundation's Stock the Lockers campaign is aiming to raise $50,000 to buy new school supplies for students in need around the region. Nanaimo has one of the highest rates of child poverty in the province, and the foundation says that is why it is so important to equip the kids with the tools they need for academic success.
We have a huge need in this district. It's one of the larger ones within the province. We have a lot of families that live in vulnerable situations, and so we're just trying to give that helping hand and try and give that boost so that every student starts out school on a level playing field. Everybody has that pen, that piece of paper, that binder that they need in order for them to learn, and that's our #1 priority.
If you'd like to help out, you can make a donation by dropping by any Staples outlet or Coastal Community Credit Union in Nanaimo until September 6th.